Hello friends, welcome to Speak with Sushan YouTube channel. For the very first time in my channel, I'm going to interview a person who's very peculiar in what he does. That is in the fashion industry. He has been my school friend long time back, but today he is doing miracles in the industry of fashion. So let me introduce to you Akshay Keerthi Raichurkar.
Thank you so much, Sushan.
Hello Akshay.
Hi.
So first of all, welcome to this particular show, Speak with Sushan. And I'm glad I have you in my show, especially a friend of mine who was long back my schoolmate, but today in such a good position in the industry.
Thank you so much.
For the very first time in the history of Speak with Sushan YouTube channel, we have Akshay Keerthi Raichurkar speaking exclusively right in front of me in an auspicious event of 11th anniversary of Akshay's mark. Along with that, trust me, it's his birthday as well. But don't ask me the age, it's a top secret. Now, let's start our exclusive interview. But before that, let me put a disclaimer to the audience as well as Akshay. Akshay, today on this interview, we are going to be quite very straightforward and I might be rude at times.
Absolutely.
But I expect you to be very frank so that most of our audience, entrepreneurs and many people in India who want to do miracles in fashion industry can get motivated from you and do miracles for our country. That's our whole intention, right?
Absolutely, very good.
Yeah, sure. So let's begin our conversation with the fact that I was telling you right before that you always wanted to be a singer and you were a singer in your schooling. What motivated you to be in this fashion industry?
Okay. So once I came into industry to become singer, trust me, any glamour industry. I'm not just focusing on singer or an actor or a model. Anything in the glamour industry, it's really tough. Since I came to become a singer, eventually I could see there were many competitors with me, and there was so much of competition. And eventually, touch wood, I did really good in my competitions. I did really good in my awards. As of today, I won around 6 state level awards and 2 national level nomination and 1 prestigious, that is Dr. Peter, which I can never forget. After that, there was all blank. There was no shows, no events, no competitions, nothing.
So these were your awards during your singing?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
These were my singing awards. And after that, it was like blackout. There's nothing. And these were the situations where I was literally devastated. There was nothing. What is my future? What's going on? And that's when I decided, no, I'll create my own stage to me as a singer. That's when indeed my parents supported, and especially my dad. And then I created my stage. And trust me, that was one of the flop events that I've gone through in my life. That was the flop event where I've put around 2,000 chairs, and there were literally 27 members who visited that singing show. And after finishing that show, I was literally devastated. I was just lost, and then I went on to suicide. I just went to there's nothing gonna happen to me. It's better that I quit my medicals. Well, I was doing my medicals at that time.
Oh.
Yeah. I recently finished my +2, and then I joined my medicals. And then, of course, my parents were having too much of expectations from me in terms of medicals. But since my dad was so supportive, I could not continue my. I told that I won't be able to continue medicine. I want to focus on my career. After seeing all this, I lost my interest. I lost my energy. I was literally devastated. And then I don't recommend. I don't suggest. But yes, the weak mind, the weak mentality took me to the suicide. I went on a railway track. It was hardly like 20 minutes before I get suicide. I just get a call from a studio that they wanted me to meet. Then I thought, anyways, I'm dying. Let me meet and die. I just came to this studio owner, and then he said, can you train my singers? And I said, to be very honest, I'm not a trained singer. So anybody for the trained singer, to train anybody to sing, it's impossible. And training a singing, it's a huge thing.
And it takes a lot of guts.
Of course. Indeed, it takes lots of guts. See, whenever I take bigger names, I always hold my ears because, that's the respect you give. No one can become normal teachers for singing or dance. It takes huge responsibility.
So who is your role model for singing? Like when you were singing actually?
Okay. Singing, I definitely don't have any kind of role models. But I do follow Sunidhi Chauhan
Okay.
and Ustad Rahat Fateh Khan Saab.
Okay. I follow Shreya Ghoshal. I don't know why.
Okay. I'll tell you why, because maybe you like melodious voice. I don't have a melodious voice. I have little husky voice,
Okay.
and these are the singers that who has little husky voice.
Okay.
So definitely I don't have melodious voice. I have husky voice. So after this I happened to meet this owner,
Okay.
and they said me to train. When I said like I'm not a trained singer, he was one of that 27 members who visited my show. He said like, no, don't teach my students singing. Don't teach what is about. Teach the confidence and the guts that you had when you were singing. Though investing your own money, creating your own stage, you're seeing your loss right in front of your eyes. You're seeing 2,000 chairs and there are only 27 people. Having all that loss, still you're performing on the stage. Just teach that guts and the confidence. That's more than enough.
Akshay, all you were telling is that the confidence and zeal is something very important for the candidates who are singing on the stage to be much more than the quality or what they sing, right? So that is what is very important, because unless you are not confident, whatever skills you have within you, for example, me being an engineer, you go to a campus recruitment, you talk to the interviewer, if you're not able to convey the knowledge which is there within you, then what's the point of having the knowledge? It's like you have a bucket of water and your house is on fire. You don't know how to spill the water. Something similar to that, right? So that's what is something very important. And it's a very valid point which was made by your trainer, who said that, sir, please train my people who are singing in the way of confidence rather than training them in singing. So what was your take after that?
Okay, once he told me this, don't train singing, train the confidence and train the guts that you had. So once I heard this, I felt like there is something in me that someone noticed, and then I started working on it. If I'm not wrong, I was doing my medicine during that time. I was a student. I was doing my medicals at that time. So trust me, I don't get up early in the morning. But at that time, I used to wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, take my classes. My classes were scheduled by 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. And from 8:30 I used to have my breakfast. 9:30 I used to leave my place and go to my college and reach my college at 9:30. So during this time, it was what do you say that?
So morning you were doing training for the singers?
Yes.
Okay.
The singers, as in I wasn't actually training them the singing, because the trainer who approached me, I told them that I'm not a trained singer, because when it comes to singing point of view, from Sa Re Ga Ma Pa, you need to learn everything, and I wasn't ready for that because I wasn't trained for that. I learned singing like for the classical song, like say I Love My India, for which I won my fifth national award. For the normal trained singers, they take around like 3 or 5 hours. I took nearly around 5 weeks. It takes efforts. So he told me to teach about my interest, my dedication, and my the way of approach to the song. That's when I started this, and then
What about self-confidence? I think that's something very important. Like, how did you cultivate self-confidence in your life? That's one of the important questions every audience who is watching this channel would have. Where did that spark within you come out? Because if a petrol engine, if we have a petrol engine, you want to ride a bike, then you need a spark plug, right? So where did that spark plug originate?
Okay, my dad always said one thing to me: if you're not capable of doing anything, or if you're not confident of doing anything, then don't spend anything on that. Either it's time, either it's energy, either it's money. What the monitor thing, the energy, the time, anything for that matter, don't spend on that. Eventually, at the same time, I was doing my contrary part. There's always a saying: if you can't convince your judges, confuse.
Yeah, right.
This is the strategy that I followed. You be so much confident that your judges, the opponent one, they get confused, like, oh my god, was this guy right or was I?
Okay.
So this strategy I followed throughout. The reason being this is I'll tell you in my थोड़ी देर के बाद मैं आपको बताऊंगा. Why did I stick to this? Either confuse the judges or convince them. Convincing is always a tough job, because you have your own choice. The judges have their own choice. They have their own what do you say, the likes. They have their own what do you say that way of music things, and they have their own what do you say that? How do I put that?
Luckily, you were not in marketing, right? Like, because you're speaking about convincing and confusing. Because we get in marketing, then we first convince the customer. If we can't convince them, then we confuse the customer, right? So, were you in a marketing mentality at that
No,
point?
no, absolutely no. Because at that particular time, I absolutely wanted to be only singer, absolutely only singer, because I didn't know anything about industry, or I didn't know anything about models. And trust me, when I used to be singer, I used to hate models to my core. Hate models, matlab. If someone comes and introduces me to the models, I would just say like, okay, just get off my vision. I hate models. Because I used to feel models have their attitude, their arrogance, they're very egoistic. I never liked models. But apparently,
No, but from singing, where did we come to models right now? Like, you were at the point of singing where you were trying to, train the people in self-confidence, but I didn't get that flow.
okay,
Yeah.
so from 4 students, I ended up till 49 students in singing.
Okay.
Out of that 49, I chose around 14 candidates
Okay.
who could make my brand. And that's when Akshay's Mark, the band took birth.
Band. It was a singing band.
Akshay's
actually.
Mark basically was a band where we had a tagline of we worship music to create mark in hearts.
Okay.
That's when the Mark became our company's name.
So you started this Akshay's Mark also with an intention of bringing out best of the best
Music.
singing group.
Absolutely, only in
okay.
terms of music.
Okay.
I don't have any. I didn't have any intention of any other categories.
So how many girls were there in this? How many boys?
There were around 4 vocalists, females,
Okay.
and 2 vocalists, male. One was absolutely me, and one was one of my closest, dearest friend, Hush, who is currently a brilliant singer in sandalwood industry. He's doing so many movies.
Okay.
He's doing so many music albums in sandalwood industry.
Okay.
He's a very good friend of mine, and we happened to meet on a reality show. He has done a reality show called from Kannada Story.
Okay.
I don't exactly remember the reality show name, but yeah, he was brilliant in the music in the reality show. And then after this, I made a group of 14 members. That's 12 including me. And then we started doing shows.
Okay.
We did All India newspaper show, which was held in Kochi, which was one of our biggest event, which was like huge public, huge stage, everything.
So it was like a band group as
Absolutely,
a whole. Okay.
yes. It indeed it was a group.
Like this Zayden and all, they have their bands.
Yes.
Similar to that.
It was the
Okay.
vocalist, the guitarist, the pianist, the drum set people.
Okay.
And
So you were the singer, main singer.
I was one of the main male lead,
Okay.
and the female lead was Megha, one of my good friends.
Okay.
And eventually, after doing all this for a couple of years, everything again stopped. That's when we thought like, Chalo, let's do one thing. Let's start up with a music album.
So why did it stop? Is it because someone pulled out your legs, or did you face any challenges? What made you actually stop? Because see, challenges are something which every person who wants to do miracles in life will face. No matter it's Albert Einstein or anybody for that matter who wants to become a great scientist will face 1,000 failures at the initial stage. Today, we the youth, the young generation wants to know how youngsters are able to tackle this particular problem of getting down into depression and turn it into a luck, turn it into a an amazing opportunity. So how did you turn that? You said me, this is what happened, and people generally don't tell what is coming down, like what is making you low in your life. See, that is what is missing. Today, if you ask into Salman Khan, he'll tell you, I did miracles, this was like this, I did that, this and all. They won't tell what's wrong, what happened bad with them in their life. They'll put it inside. Okay, but today, if public knows what are the failures, only then you are able to make a true difference to the Indian society and make India a prosperous country, like what our Modi's vision is. So that's the reason, although my question is a bit long, I'm just asking you in simple that what were the things which made your singing industry stop at that moment and you take a turn?
No, I didn't think to stop my singing career even today.
Okay.
Even today, I never planned, not touch wood, I would never plan to stop my singing career because that's when I started my career. But yes, after doing all the shows, after doing all this, winning all these award functions, there was little gap, like, maybe, I don't say it confirmed, but maybe there were opponent teams who took advantages of we being busy in the other state events, and they were available in the current the Karnataka state. So eventually we started losing the contacts, and then it was very very tough. I mean, like after.
Were there a lot of backstabbing which you faced in?
Of course, yes. In which industry you don't have backstabbing? Backstabbing is something like you have in each and every industry.
But how did
yes,
you face that at that point?
that didn't make any difference to me. Definitely no difference to me, because I always believe, like, you speak bad about me, if I speak bad about you, that there is no difference between you and me.
Exactly.
And that is one thing that I followed from my childhood. So if you're backbitching me, I would either avoid it or give a good explanation if at all it was true. And coming to the point of why, how it happened, and why did I change my career stage, and then since there was no nothing stage or happening things for singing career, I thought I'll come up with my own music album, so that I explore myself as a singer and then eventually make a group. To make a music album, we were lacking little funds, to be very honest. That what I'm speaking in the year of 2011, 2012. I did this event called Love is Equals to Friendship, where I did all these category things. I actually wanted to avoid models because I didn't like them personally. But then one of my good friend, who was at that particular, he was a very good friend of me, called Ganesh. He was my choreographer. He forced me to put modeling. So even though modeling we had kept as a secondary category, like singing, dancing, acting, photography, acting bar, modeling slash modeling. We kept modeling always secondary category.
But I think you always wanted only singers, right, for your singing group. Why did you actually audition models and all that? So when did that come into picture?
Because we wanted to do a music album.
Okay.
And we had decided the singers won't be in the visual pictures.
Visual pictures. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why we wanted actors. But eventually, in that entire event, which was around like it took around 2 months and 2 days of finals, and the modeling took over the entire credit.
Okay.
And then eventually, I happened to meet these models. I happened to have the interaction with the models, which changed my perception with the models. The models are not really the attitude guys or the egoistic guys. They were very sweet to me. And then eventually, because of that sweetness, I did my second event.
No, but let's come to the first event itself.
Mm.
One thing I just want to know, and which is something very critical for every entrepreneur who wants to run his own modeling company or a pageant like that, is the initial funding, right? So when you initially started up this particular pageant modeling, you want to make auditions, you want to book a hall. If you want to do for example, you want to do auditions for a models, you can't do it on road or you can't do it in a simple place, right? You need to book a mall, hotel, a 5-star thing, something like that. So how were you able to give your credibility in front of others so that they sponsor? See, the first point is, if somebody wants to sponsor you, they should feel that you're credible.
Correct.
Unless you're credible, nobody is going to sponsor you,
Correct,
right?
correct,
So
correct.
how were you able to prove yourself credible in front of those investors, and how basically were you approaching them?
No, in my first event or my second event, I never approached anybody because I knew I was nothing. When you're yourself that you know that you're nothing, then it is quite obvious that you can't face people. So that's when I decided that I will seek the help from my family members. That's when I approached my father, and he did support me. Before my father, I actually supported my. I asked my support to one of my school teacher called Saroja ma'am, who was in our school,
Yeah,
as you know.
yeah.
She was our Hindi teacher. She supported me with a very nominal price, but it was very it was very helpful to me. And then eventually my dad supported, and then that's how the funding came out.
See, I just want to ask this question because I have heard in my life, like, many people's nominal price of 100 rupees, 500 rupees has changed their life a whole, right?
Correct.
So just to ask you, what was that nominal price which changed your life?
Okay, I absolutely did. I didn't know this question would pop out, but it was. I didn't take much. It was in and around 40,000
Okay.
that I took from my dad. That I promised him that.
So a teacher who taught us for 4-5 years was so heartily enough to sponsor you 40,000.
Okay. If you're asking about the Saroja madam, she had sponsored around 20,000.
Okay.
That was in our Hubli event. That was Love is Equal to Friendship. She was one of the guests of honors.
Okay.
And she was the one who inaugurated the event.
Okay.
It was in the oh my god, I really don't remember the hotel name.
That's good.
But yeah, it was in the Hubli. She was doing her teachings in the Sukriti College.
Okay.
She came down and she said, like, I shared my thing, okay, I'm doing this and all. And she said, like, Akshay, I've gone through this salary, I've got my salary, you can use it. Then I was like, it was very, different thing. Thank you so much, ma'am. I wasn't expecting that my school teacher would support me in my glamour industry. But she did. She said, like, I can see the future in you. And that's how all this started. And then eventually,
I think you were singing a little Hindi songs also in your schooling, so maybe that would have also motivated the teacher, if I'm not wrong.
maybe, you never know. She was our Hindi teacher. So yeah, absolutely. And then eventually, I got to learn the pageants. I got to learn what is difference between a pageant and a contest. What's different between a fashion week and a contest? I didn't know.
Akshay, my first question to you is that what was your first investment? And secondly, the major question which I want to pose right in front of all these audience is that the funding. In your case, it was like you had a good teacher who had belief in you and also had parents who had that confidence within you, and you had that financial backing where Akshay would do this. Well, maybe that would be there in their mind, or they would have also done some risking as well. But my straight question is that what message would you like to give this young audience who wants to become entrepreneurs, wants to open their own pageant, wants to make a runway for the models and bring out good models of our country and make people Miss India, Miss Queen and make them actors, actresses of our nation, but they don't have that finance in them, rather they have the skill. In that case, what is the suggestion you would like to give? Before that, the first question is, how did you arrange the funding? What was your funding?
See, your question itself had its answer. If they had the skills. In this industry, your skill is your money. You make your skills work into money. That is how you convince your sponsors. Touch wood, I had a very good background from my parents and my teacher as well. They supported me. But that was not in all the scene. That wasn't in my next event or the next project. And that wasn't in my next pageants or when I started pageants. No, there was nothing. I had to, after doing all this, I happened to go finish my pageants thing, and I purchased international franchises for Indian pageants. But that was at that particular time I was zero. I was notified by one of the brilliant person called Maruti sir, who was from Reliance company. So he was the one who approached me that I loved your judging aspect. I would like to have a meeting with you during lunch. I said like yes, let's go ahead. And during that lunch conversation, we came up with this conversation, and then we bought up this new pageant called Reliance Jewels Mr. and Miss India. And that's when Akshay's Mark organization took birth across India. Till then, it was just till Karnataka level.
So what was your first investment? That's what I was...
Okay, my first investment, say around 2.5 lakhs.
It was just 2.5 lakhs for the auditions and booking of rooms and everything. Okay, so with 2.5 lakhs, what you have invested in your first event, were you able to get the
minus? I was still in my minus.
Okay, so you don't get it.
No.
So see, friends, what you can clearly observe out of this is that although you were in minus at that point, you had that zeal that, okay, if I fail now, we have a slogan in Kannada, I just want to put it right now, Marali Yatnava Madu. Means like no matter you fail any number of times, you try it again and again, try until you succeed, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's what you had followed. But sometimes in life, you may try until you succeed, sometimes you won't. For example, many people try for IAS, IPS and all these exams. They sit in home, study hard for 4-5 years. They don't succeed. So what would you like to tell them?
See, I'm absolutely not the right person to instruct the people who are competing for the bigger level like IAS and IPS for the country, for the contribution that they give to the country. I would consider, compared to them, I would consider the peanut. I'd be like 1% of what they do for the country.
That's great of you, yeah.
But at the same time, to be very honest, if you don't have any backup, I don't say that don't take risk. But there's always a saying, until and unless you take risk, there is no success.
But you should take a calculated risk if I'm not wrong.
Absolutely. That was my next point. That was my next point. Since I had a very good calculation of my parents being at my background and my I knew there was something. I had my background, like my parents, my dad, my mom especially. That's when I took this step probably, and then they were very 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 supportive when I was single. So I was sure that they would support me as an entrepreneur. So that's when I initiated this. But yeah, that went very wrong, and they actually didn't support me when I became an entrepreneur.
See, your dads and mom generally support you
Mhm.
when you want to do things in your life.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
the major question what possesses is that once you did your first event, you said that you went on minus,
True,
right?
true.
That means what you invested also you did not get.
Yes.
In that case, maybe your dad and mom would be like, think for yourself, make a right choice. That would be their suggestion. But your relatives would have definitely pulled your legs very, very badly. That is the real time scenario which I generally see in the Indian culture.
Absolutely.
They would have pulled your legs so badly that Akshay, your dad sacrificed 2.5, 3 lakhs for you, and today you are on bonkers or whatever.
True,
I
true,
don't know
true,
what
true,
they would have told
true,
you.
true.
How did you face that thing?
Okay.
See, why I'm asking you this is because there are people who just face these things and go for suicides.
True.
They
true.
take their lives because their parents would be support you. But end of the day,
The relatives.
the relatives would pull their legs so badly, and that too they won't pull your legs in the manner they pull us. See, you have your cousin brother. He is doing like this. He's a doctor. He already is already a model. They'll compare you. When they compare you, you feel like underestimated. Once you feel underestimated, you feel like no, this is not a life.
True,
right?
true that. On this point, even I face all this. My elder brother is a very successful engineer. My my cousins are doctors and everything. I happened to face all this things in the beginning. They were like, your brother is doing this. Your uncle is doing this. Why aren't you? What you're doing? You're wasting things and all. But today, because I was standing on my on my strategy, because I was standing on my work, because I was standing on I was confident on my work, I was confident on my things that I was doing, I was confident on my beauty pageants, I was confident on my production, the uncles, the things, the whoever, my relatives. There's doctors in one city. I have reached more than 13 countries today. They own like normal cars. I own a BMW. They thought small thing. They struggled for smaller time. They succeeded the smaller way. I struggled for the longer time. I put my life for the longer time, and I'm living my longer life.
Okay, nice. So I just remember an incident which I probably spoke to you a long time back. I heard that you went to a hotel with a slipper, and you were like, they just tried to bash you out, like, you're coming with a slipper? No, we don't, I don't think so you would have booked your accommodation here. I just pretty much heard this incident. So I just want to know the audience over here that what was that one thing in your life which actually depressed you? I actually gave you a clue of incident also, so you can just describe.
Okay, so it was a 5-star hotel in Mumbai. I just came up with my beauty pageant, a successful beauty pageant. So I always wanted to stay in that hotel, so that's when I booked that hotel. And then see, I'm that particular person who I was never interested in my appearance, be that my costumes, be that my the footwears, be that anything for that matter, my hair, my anything. As of today, my stylist takes care of my wardrobes, my footwear, everything. But at that particular time, I was I didn't have any much interest. So I was roaming with my slippers. I just got into one of the big hotel in Mumbai, one of the 5-star hotels. I don't want to name it. And I was stopped by the watchman, and because I was wearing just a slipper, he said like, what's your deal here? Then I said, I have my room accommodated here. I was like, really? I was like, yes. What's the point? Then he just went inside. He got the confirmation from the front desk, and then they came back and they said like, okay, you can go. And once I got in, I upgraded my room to the suite, and I said the reason of upgrading my room was not my necessity, because I just wanted them to teach. I just wanted them to say, you can't judge anybody just because they're wearing slippers.
So the moral of the story is don't judge the book by its cover.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I booked all suite during my stay there. I spent the person who stopped me his monthly salary for one night. Maybe it's not his thing. That was ordered by someone else. Maybe his manager or something. That's absolutely the wrong aspect. You can't stop someone because of their appearance.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if you go to leave South Indians or Indians or North Indians, go to Myanmar. I've been to Myanmar. The traditional dress of there, the college costumes are lungi and chappals. Not even the high quality the slippers or the chappal literal the chappals and lungi. That's a traditional uniform. What do you say there?
Exactly.
You can't throw them out of the college.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing.
Akshay, one thing I need to actually appreciate you and be proud of is that no matter you had undergone all these things in that hotel, you did not mention the name of the hotel, which I'm really proud of because although they would have done something to you, you don't want to do it back to them. Instead, this shows how down to earth you are as a person, right? So, coming to the next sequence of our talk, I just want to hear one thing before we go to the next step, that is your fashion industry, how it started, and all that. Can we hear a two-piece line of yours of a song which you would have sung and got some award? I just want two lines for our audience to hear your melodious voice.
Okay. Okay, sure.
For more video updates, please do like, share and subscribe Speak with Sushant YouTube channel.